The alarm bells rang through Sentinel Prime Station like thunder in the dark. Commander Lisa Brooks ran down the metal hallway, her boots making loud sounds on the floor. She had been sleeping when the noise started. Now her heart was beating fast as she rushed to the command center. "What's happening?" she asked as she entered the room. The big screens showed stars and empty space. Her crew was working at their stations, pressing buttons and watching numbers change on their screens. Lieutenant Amy Fisher turned around from her desk. Her face was white with shock. "Commander, we got a signal. It's coming from the edge of our solar system." Lisa felt cold. "What kind of signal?" It's the Valkyrie, ma'am. The ship that went missing 11 years ago." The room became very quiet. Everyone stopped working and looked at Lisa. The Valkyrie was a name they all knew. It was Earth's best warship, with the smartest crew and the newest weapons. 11 years ago, it had gone into the Kepler void to look for new worlds. Then, it just disappeared. No signals, no messages, nothing. Lisa walked to the big screen. "Show me the signal." Amy pressed some buttons. A voice came through the speakers. It was fuzzy and hard to hear, but it was definitely human. "This is Captain Ryan Webb of the UES Valkyrie. We are coming home. Please respond." Lisa knew that voice. She and Ryan had been friends at the Space Academy many years ago. But something was different about how he sounded. His voice was older, more tired. "Send a reply," Lisa said. "Tell them we hear them and ask for their position." Amy worked on her controls. "Valkyrie, this is Sentinel Prime. We hear you. What is your location? We have been looking for you for 11 years. They waited. The seconds felt like hours. Then Ryan's voice came back. "Sentinel Prime, good to hear from you. We are 3 days away from Earth. We request permission to come home, but I need to tell you something important. We are not alone." Lisa felt her stomach drop. What does he mean, not alone? Dr. Nathan Cole, the station's science officer, was looking at his computer screen. His face was full of worry. "Commander, I'm reading the ship's energy levels. This is impossible." "What do you mean, impossible?" Nathan pointed at his screen. "The Valkyrie's power output is 10 times higher than when it left, and there are strange energy patterns around it. I've never seen anything like this before." Lisa grabbed the microphone. "Captain Webb, please explain what you mean by not alone." The radio was quiet for a long time. Then Ryan spoke again. "We have passengers, Lisa. Friends who helped us when we were lost. They want to meet Earth's people. They have been waiting for this day for a very long time." "Passengers? What kind of passengers?" "The kind that will change everything, old friend. The kind that will show us we are not alone in this big universe." Admiral Jake Morrison's face appeared on the main screen. He was calling from Earth's Defense headquarters. His face was red with anger and worry. "Commander Brooks, do not let that ship come near Earth. We don't know what's on it. It could be dangerous." Lisa looked at the Admiral. "Sir, it's Captain Webb. I know him. He's a good man. That was 11 years ago. We don't know what happened to him out there. For all we know, aliens could be controlling him." Nathan was still watching his instruments. "Admiral, the energy readings are getting stronger, and there's something else. I'm detecting 3 smaller ships near the Valkyrie. They're not human design." The room became very quiet again. Everyone was thinking the same thing. Aliens. Real aliens. Admiral Moore voice was hard and cold. "That settles it. Do not let them come closer. All defense ships move to block their path." But Lisa was thinking about her old friend Ryan. He had always been honest and brave. If he said these aliens were friends, maybe they really were. "Admiral, with respect, maybe we should listen to what they have to say." "Absolutely not. We will not risk Earth's safety." The radio made noise again. Ryan's voice came through, but this time it sounded sad. "I can hear your defense ships moving, Lisa. I understand you're scared. We were scared too, 11 years ago. But these beings saved our lives. They taught us things about the universe that will help all of humanity. Amy was watching her screens. Commander, the Valkyrie has stopped moving. It's just sitting there at the edge of our solar system. And the smaller ships, Lisa asked. They've moved away from the Valkyrie. They're keeping their distance. Lisa made a decision. Open a channel to Captain Webb. Ryan, this is Lisa. Talk to me. What really happened out there? Ryan's voice came back, and now it sounded very tired. We got lost, Lisa. Lost in a place between stars where normal space doesn't work. We thought we were going to die. Then they found us. Beings made of light and energy who live in the empty spaces between worlds. They saved us and taught us. Now they want to help Earth too, because something bad is coming. Something that eats whole star systems. Dr. Cole looked up from his computer. Commander, long-range sensors are picking up something else. Something big is moving toward our solar system from deep space. It's still very far away, but it's definitely coming this way. Lisa felt cold fear in her stomach. How big? Bigger than anything we've ever seen, and it's moving fast. The radio crackled again. Ryan's voice was urgent now. Lisa, you need to let us come home. The Devourers are coming, and we're humanity's only hope of survival. Our new friends want to help us fight, but we need to work together. Admiral Morrison's face appeared on screen again. Commander Brooks, this conversation is over. Prepare to fire warning shots at that ship if it moves any closer. Lisa looked around the command center. Her crew was watching her, waiting for orders. She thought about Earth, about all the people living their normal lives down there. She thought about Ryan, alone in space, for 11 years. And she thought about the strange readings on Nathan's computers. Amy, send one more message to the Valkyrie. Yes, ma'am. Lisa took a deep breath. What she said next would change everything for humanity. Ryan, you have permission to approach, but slowly, and your passenger ships stay back until we know more. Admiral Morrison's angry voice filled the room. Commander Brooks, you are disobeying direct orders. Lisa turned off the communication with Earth. She looked at her crew. We're about to make history, people. Let's hope we make the right choice. Outside the station's windows, 3 small points of light began moving toward them through the darkness of space. Humanity's first meeting with alien life was about to begin. The Valkyrie moved slowly toward Sentinel Prime Station. Lisa watched it grow bigger on the main screen. The ship looked different now. Strange blue lines covered its metal hull like glowing tattoos. Parts of it had been changed with materials. That didn't look human at all. Docking Bay 7 is ready, Amy reported. The Valkyrie is asking permission to dock. Lisa nodded. Let them dock. But keep all security teams ready. Dr. Cole was still watching his instruments. The energy readings are incredible. Whatever they did to that ship, it's running on power we don't understand. 20 minutes later, the Valkyrie was locked in place in the docking bay. Lisa and her team walked through the station's hallways toward the bay. Her hands were shaking a little. She was about to see her old friend for the first time in 11 years. The docking bay. Doors opened with a loud hiss. Captain Ryan Webb stepped out of the airlock. Lisa almost didn't recognize him. His hair was now white instead of brown. His face had deep lines, and his eyes looked like they had seen impossible things. But when he smiled, she knew it was really him. Hello, Lisa, he said. His voice was calm and peaceful. It's good to see you again, Ryan. Lisa walked toward him. What happened to you out there? Behind Ryan, more people came out of the ship. Lisa recognized some of them from the old crew files. Dr. Elena Martinez, the ship's science officer. Chief Engineer Pete Johnson. Security Chief Karen White. They all looked older and different, like they had learned secrets that changed them. We found something wonderful, Lisa, Ryan said, and something terrible. But first, let me introduce our friends. Ryan turned toward the airlock. Please, come out. It's safe. The air near the doorway began to shimmer like heat waves. Slowly, shapes appeared. They were tall and thin, made of what looked like silver light. They moved without making any sound, floating a few inches above the floor. Lisa's security team raised their weapons, but she held up her hand. Wait. One of the light beings moved forward. When it spoke, its voice was like music and wind chimes. Greetings, Commander Brooks. I am called Echo Prime by your people. We come in peace and friendship. Dr. Martinez stepped forward. Commander, I've been working with the Echoes for years now. They communicate through thought and energy. They're completely peaceful. Lisa stared at the glowing figure. You can read minds. We can share thoughts when invited, Echo Prime said. We do not take what is not given. Your Captain Webb and his crew gave us permission to learn from them, as they learned from us. Ryan walked closer to Lisa. They saved our lives, Lisa. When we got lost in the void, our ship was dying. The Echoes found us and helped us repair everything. But more than that, they taught us things about space and time that humans never knew. Pete Johnson, the engineer, was grinning. Lisa, you should see what they showed me. The ship's engines can now bend space itself. We can travel between stars in days, instead of years. That's impossible, Dr. Cole said. Alina Martinez laughed. That's what we thought too. But impossible is just another word for not understood yet. Echo Prime moved closer to Dr. Cole. May I share knowledge with you, scientist of Earth? Cole looked nervous. What kind of knowledge? The truth about your galaxy. The truth about what is coming. Lisa stepped between them. What do you mean, what's coming? Ryan's face became serious. The Devourers, Lisa. Ancient machines that eat everything in their path. Planets, stars, entire solar systems. They've been moving through the galaxy for thousands of years, and they're heading toward Earth, Karen White added. Our scouts detected them 3 days ago. Admiral Morrison's voice suddenly filled the docking bay through the communication system. Commander Brooks, step away from those creatures immediately. Earth Defense Forces are surrounding the station. Lisa looked up at the speakers. Admiral, these beings are peaceful. They're trying to help us. They're aliens, Commander. We don't know what they really want. Echo Prime's light grew brighter. Admiral Morrison, we understand your fear. All species react this way when they first meet us. But time is short. The Devourer scouts will reach your system in 7 days. That's impossible, Morrison's voice said. Our deep space sensors would have detected them. Ryan walked to a wall panel and pressed some buttons. A holographic map appeared in the air, showing the solar system and the space around it. Red dots were moving toward Earth from the edge of the map. They travel through folded space, Ryan explained. They don't show up on normal sensors until they're very close. By then, it's usually too late. Dr. Cole was staring at the map. How big are they? Alina Martinez touched the hologram. The red dots grew bigger, showing the real size of the ships. Each one is the size of a small moon. The docking bay became very quiet. Lisa felt her mouth go dry. Ships the size of moons, coming to eat Earth. What do they want? Lisa asked. Echo Prime's voice was sad. They consume matter and energy to build more of themselves. They have no consciousness as you understand it. They simply eat and grow and move on to the next system. How many species have they destroyed? Thousands, Ryan said quietly. The Echoes have been fighting them for a very long time, but they always lose in the end. The Devourers adapt to every weapon, every strategy. Then how can we possibly fight them? Echo Prime's light pulsed in what might have been excitement, because humans think differently than any species we have ever met. Your minds work in patterns. That confused the Devourers. They cannot predict what you will do. Pete Johnson grinned. Turns out being crazy and unpredictable is actually useful. Admiral Morrison's voice came through the speakers again. This is all very interesting, but I'm not risking Earth's safety on the word of aliens we just met. Elena Martinez stepped forward. Admiral, with respect, you don't have a choice. In 7 days, the Devourers will be here whether you believe in them or not. Lisa looked around the docking bay. Her security team, her crew, Ryan, and his people. The glowing echoes. Everyone was looking at her, waiting for her to make a decision. Echo Prime, she said. If we agree to work with you, what exactly are you asking us to do? Allow us to share our technology with your ships and weapons. Teach your military leaders the strategies that have failed for other species, so you can do something different. Most importantly, trust your human instincts. When the battle comes, do not think like soldiers. Think like humans. Karen White stepped forward. Commander, I've fought alongside the Echoes. They're not asking us to follow their orders. They're asking us to lead. Lead what? Ryan smiled, and for a moment, he looked like the young cadet Lisa had known years ago. The first real fight back against the Devourers. The first time any species has had a real chance to win. Dr. Cole was still staring at his instruments. The energy readings from their technology. If we could apply this to our defense grid, we could actually hurt them, Pete Johnson finished. Maybe even destroy them. Lisa looked at Echo Prime. You're asking us to bet our entire planet on the idea that humans are special. You are special, Echo Prime said. You are the first species we have met that laughs in the face of impossible odds. The first species that sees a hopeless situation and immediately starts planning how to win anyway. Admiral Morrison's voice was angry now. Commander Brooks, I'm ordering you to arrest these aliens and quarantine that crew. Lisa walked to the communication panel. She took a deep breath and made the most important decision of her life. Admiral Morrison, this is Commander Brooks. I'm declaring this. Station under scientific emergency protocols. These beings have critical information about a threat to Earth. I'm recommending immediate cooperation with their offer. You're making a terrible mistake, Commander. Lisa looked at Ryan, at the Echoes, at her own crew. Maybe, but it's better than doing nothing and watching Earth get eaten by space monsters. She turned back to Echo Prime. What do we need to do first? The alien's light pulsed brighter. First, we show your military leaders what they will be fighting. Then we begin preparing your ships for a kind of war no species has ever fought before. Outside the station, more ships were arriving. Some were human defense vessels, following Admiral Morrison's orders. Others were the strange, beautiful ships of the Echoes. Earth's first alien alliance was about to begin, whether Earth's leaders wanted it or not. Dr. Cole stood in the center of Sentinel Prime's main meeting room. His hands were shaking as he looked at the holographic display floating in front of him. What he was seeing would give him nightmares for the rest of his life. This is what the Devourers did to the Kepler system, Echo Prime explained. The alien's silver light dimmed as it shared the terrible memory. Watch carefully. The hologram showed a beautiful solar system with 7 planets. One of them was covered in green and blue, clearly home to living things. Cities of light sparkled on its surface like tiny jewels. Then the Devourers arrived. The machines were huge, beyond imagination. Each one was the size of Earth's moon, covered in millions of metal tentacles. They moved through space like hungry sharks, heading straight for the living planet. The Zephyrians had technology more advanced than yours, Echo Prime continued. They fought bravely for 6 months. Cole watched in horror as the planet's defenses opened fire. Beams of energy and clouds of missiles struck the Devourers. For a moment, it looked like the defenders might win. Several machines were damaged and fell back, but then the Devourers adapted. They learned from every attack, Alina Martinez said, softly. She was standing next to Ryan, both of them watching the hologram with sad eyes. By the end of the first day, the Zephyrian weapons couldn't hurt them anymore. The hologram showed the planet's surface being stripped away, layer by layer. The blue oceans turned black. The green forests became gray dust. Within days, there was nothing left but a dead rock floating in space. 30 billion people, Ryan said quietly. Gone in less than a week. Admiral Morrison was sitting at the far end of the table. His face was white with shock. This really happened. It happens every few years, Echo Prime replied. Always. The same pattern. The devourers arrive. The local species fights back. The machines adapt and win. We have watched it happen to over 200 civilizations. President Helen Davis, who had arrived from Earth an hour ago, leaned forward in her chair. Why haven't you Echoes been able to stop them? We are beings of energy and thought. We can share knowledge and bend space, but we cannot create the weapons needed to fight them. We need physical beings who can build ships and fire guns. Other species had ships and guns, Admiral Morrison said. What makes humans different? Karen White stepped forward. Admiral, I've been studying this for years with Echo Prime. Every species they've encountered follows predictable patterns when they fight. They use logic, strategy, mathematical calculations. The devourers can predict all of that. But humans don't always use logic, Pete Johnson added with a grin. Sometimes we just do crazy things because they feel right. Dr. Cole was still staring at the hologram. Show me the battle patterns. Show me how the other species fought. Echo Prime waved one of its glowing hands. The display changed, showing dozens of different battles. In every one, the defending species used smart, logical tactics. They spread their ships out to avoid being hit all at once. They attacked from multiple directions. They tried to hit the Devourer's weak points, and in every single battle, they lost. The machines study every move, Echo Prime explained. After a few hours, they know exactly what their enemies will do next. They predict every strategy, every formation, every attack. Alina Martinez walked to the display, but watch this. She touched the hologram, and it showed the battle where humans had first encountered a Devourer scout. Cole watched in amazement. The human ships didn't use any formation at all. They flew in crazy patterns, sometimes attacking, sometimes running away, sometimes doing both at the same time. One pilot flew his ship in loops, just to confuse the enemy. Another one rammed his fighter directly into a Devourer's sensor array. It worked, Cole whispered. The machines couldn't predict what we would do because we weren't following any plan. Exactly, Ryan said. The Devourer's computers went crazy trying to figure out what we were thinking. Some of them actually stopped working for a few minutes. President Davis looked around the room. So, our best strategy against these super advanced machines is to act like crazy people. Not crazy, Echo Prime corrected. Creative, unpredictable, human. Admiral Morrison stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see Earth floating in the distance, blue and green and beautiful. How many Devourers are coming? Our scouts count 15 machines in the first wave, Ryan answered. More will follow if these succeed. 15 machines against Earth's defense fleet. Morrison shook his head. We have maybe 200 ships total. Numbers don't matter if your weapons can't hurt them, Alina pointed out. But with echo technology, even small human ships can damage Devourer hulls. Echo Prime's light grew brighter. We propose a partnership. We will give you our technology for bending space and creating energy weapons. You give us your human creativity and your refusal to give up. President Davis stood up. What exactly would this partnership look like? Your ships would be modified with our technology. Your pilots would be trained in dimensional warfare. Most importantly, Your commanders would be taught to ignore conventional military strategy. Ignore strategy. Admiral Morrison looked confused. Karen White smiled. Think of it as advanced stupidity, sir. We do things that are so dumb, the enemy can't believe we're actually doing them. Pete, Johnson laughed. Like the time Captain Webb ordered us to fly backwards into battle while playing classical music over the radio. That actually worked, Cole asked. The Devourers spent so much time trying to figure out what the music meant. They forgot to defend themselves, Ryan explained. We destroyed 3 of them before they realized we were just being weird. Echo Prime moved closer to President Davis. Madam President, we must begin preparations immediately. The Devourers will arrive in 4 days. 4 days? I thought you said 7 days. They have increased their speed. They may have detected our presence here. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about Earth, about their families, about everything they could lose in 4 days. President Davis looked around the table. Admiral Morrison, how quickly can we start modifying our ships? Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. If we work around the clock, we might be able to upgrade 50 ships with their technology. But that's still not nearly enough. It will have to be enough, President Davis said firmly. Commander Brooks, I'm putting you in charge of the integration project. Work with Captain Webb and these Echoes to get our ships ready. Lisa nodded. Yes, ma'am. What about the rest of Earth's fleet? Morrison asked. They'll provide support and follow the modified ships into battle, Ryan said. Sometimes the best strategy is to have no strategy at all. If half our ships are doing logical things and half are doing crazy things, the Devourers won't know what to expect. Echo Prim's voice became urgent. There is one more thing you must know. The Devourers are not just machines. They are controlled by something ancient and intelligent. Something that has been consuming galaxies for millions of years. What kind of something? Cole asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know the answer. We call it the hunger. It is consciousness without body, intelligence without soul. It feeds on the life force of entire worlds. The machines are just its tools. President Davis felt cold fear creep up her spine. Is the hunger coming here too? Not yet. But if these Devourers succeed, it will follow. And when it arrives, no amount of technology or creativity will save any of us. Ryan walked to the window and looked out at Earth. That's why we have to win this first battle. Not just to save Earth, but to prove that the hunger can be beaten. To give hope to every species still out there, hiding in fear. Admiral Morrison joined him at the window. No pressure or anything. Actually, sir, pressure is exactly what we need, Karen White said. Humans fight best when everything is on the line. When we're backed into a corner with no way out. Echo Prime's light pulsed in what might have been agreement. This is why we chose your species. Every other race we have met tries to find safety when threatened. Humans get angry and start looking for ways to fight back. President Davis walked to the communication panel. I need to address the people of Earth. They deserve to know what's coming. What will you tell them? Lisa asked. The president smiled grimly. The truth, that in 4 days, monsters are coming to eat our world, and that we're going to stop them by being the most stubborn, crazy, impossible species they've ever met. Outside the window, Earth's defense ships were already moving toward the shipyards. In 4 days, humanity would face its greatest test. But for the first time in galactic history, the Devourers were about to learn what happened when they tried to eat. A species that didn't know how to quit. The shipyards around Earth had never been so busy. Day and night, human workers and echo beings worked together, adding strange blue technology to human warships. Lisa watched from the bridge of her new command ship, the Unity, as sparks flew. From welding torches and energy beams, reshaped metal hulls. How many ships are ready? She asked Pete Johnson, who was now her chief engineer. Pete wiped grease from his hands and grinned. 47 ships have the full Echo upgrade. Another 30 have partial modifications. It's not much, but it's what we've got. Through the bridge windows, Lisa could see the modified ships. They looked different now, covered in the same blue lines that decorated the Valkyrie. The lines pulsed with energy, making the ships look alive. Commander Brooks to all ship captains, Lisa spoke into her communicator. Final briefing in 1 hour. This is it, people. An hour later, 77 human captains gathered in the Unity's main briefing room. Some were old veterans with gray hair and scars. Others were young pilots who had never seen real combat. All of them looked nervous. Admiral Morrison stood at the front of the room with Ryan Webb and Echo Prime. Behind them, a holographic display showed the outer edge of the solar system. Ladies and gentlemen, Morrison began, in 6 hours, the Devourer fleet will exit hyperspace right here. He pointed to a spot near Neptune. We will be waiting for them. Captain Sarah Lopez, one of the younger pilots, raised her hand. Sir, what's our battle plan? Morrison looked at Ryan, who smiled. Captain Lopez, there is no battle plan, sir. Traditional military strategy won't work against the Devourers, Ryan explained. They adapt too quickly. So instead, we're going to do whatever feels right in the moment. Captain Mike Torres looked confused. You want us to just make it up as we go along? Exactly, Echo Prime said, its voice like silver bells. Your human instincts are your greatest weapon. Trust them completely. Admiral Morrison activated the holographic display. Here's what we know about the enemy. 15 Devourer machines, each one the size of a small moon. They have energy weapons that can destroy planets, armor that adapts to any attack, and computers that can predict conventional military tactics. How are we supposed to fight something like that? Captain Torres asked. By being human, Lisa said, standing up. By doing things so crazy that even we don't understand why we're doing them. Alina Martinez walked to the front of the room. I've been studying Devourer behavior for years. They expect enemies to attack their weapons first, then their engines, then their command centers. They're programmed to defend against logical attacks. So we attack illogically, Captain Lopez said, starting to understand. Right. Attack their least important parts first. Fly your ships upside down. Play music over the radio while you're fighting. Make them waste time trying to figure out what you're thinking. Karen White stepped forward. Remember, the Echo technology in your ships isn't just for weapons. You can bend space around your ship, phase through solid matter for short periods, and move in directions that don't exist in normal space. Captain Torres looked at his hands. I don't even understand how that's possible. You don't need to understand it, Ryan said. Just trust it. When you're in battle, and your instincts tell you to do something impossible, do it anyway. Echo Prime's light grew brighter. The technology responds to your emotions and intentions. The more human you act, the better it works. Admiral Morrison looked around the room. Any questions? A veteran captain named Bill Foster raised his hand. What happens if we lose? The room became very quiet. Morrison looked out the window at Earth, hanging beautiful and blue in the distance. If we lose, Captain Foster, then everything ends. Not just for Earth, but for every living thing in this galaxy. The hunger will consume all of it, and if we win, Ryan smiled. If we win, we become the first species in galactic history to defeat the Devourers. We give hope to every other civilization out there. We prove that the hunger can be stopped. Captain Lopez stood up. Then let's go stop it. 6 hours later, the human fleet waited in formation near Neptune. 77 ships hung in space like angry wasps, their hulls glowing with blue echo energy. Lisa sat on the bridge of the Unity, watching the empty space where the Devourers would appear. All ships report ready, Amy Fisher announced from her communication station. Energy readings are stable, Dr. Cole reported from his science station. Lisa opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Commander Brooks to all ships. In a few minutes, we're going to face the most dangerous enemy our species has ever encountered. But remember who we are. We're the species that looked at the impossible and said, "Hold my beer." We're the people who saw a mountain and decided to move it just because we could. Laughter came through the communication system from several ships. Trust your instincts. Trust your training. Trust each other. And when in doubt, do something so crazy that you surprise yourself. Contact, Dr. Cole shouted. Multiple hyperspace signatures emerging near Neptune. On the main screen, space began to tear open like black wounds. The Devourers came through slowly, their massive forms blotting out the stars. Lisa had seen the recordings, but seeing them in person was different. They were beautiful in a terrible way, like metal planets covered in moving tentacles. "My God," someone whispered over the radio. "All ships, hold position," Lisa ordered. "Let them come to us." The Devourers moved through space like hunters, spreading out in a perfect formation. Their sensors swept the area, looking for threats. When they detected the human fleet, they stopped. For 10 long minutes, nothing happened. The Devourers just floated there, their computers analyzing the human ships. "They're confused," Alina Martinez said with excitement. "They can't figure out why we're not attacking." "They're trying to predict our strategy," Echo Prime added. "But we have no strategy for them to predict." Captain Torres's voice came over the radio. "Commander, I'm getting really bored just sitting here." Lisa grinned. "Then don't sit there, Captain. Do something fun." "Yes, ma'am." Torres's ship, the Ranger, suddenly began spinning in circles while flying straight toward the nearest Devourer. As it spun, it fired its weapons in random directions, creating a light show that looked more like fireworks than a battle. The Devourer's tentacles moved frantically, trying to track the spinning ship. Its weapons fired, but Torres was spinning so fast that all the shots missed. "All ships," Lisa announced. "Torres just gave us our cue. Let's dance." What happened next would be talked about in military academies for centuries. The human fleet attacked in the most chaotic, illogical way possible. Ships flew backwards while firing forward. Others moved in zigzag patterns that hurt to look at. Captain Lopez flew her ship in a perfect spiral while playing classical music over the radio. The Devourers' computers went crazy, trying to understand what was happening. Their weapons fired randomly, hitting empty space more often than ships. Their formation fell apart as they tried to respond to attacks that made no sense. "It's working," Dr. Cole shouted. "Their adaptation systems are overloading." Lisa watched one of the Devourers spin helplessly as 3 human ships flew around it in different directions, each one doing something completely unpredictable. The machine's tentacles were tangled around itself. "Phase 2, she announced. "Echo weapons, full power." The human ships began firing energy beams that bent space itself. The beams curved around the Devourer's shields and struck their hulls directly. For the first time in galactic history, Devourer armor began to crack. One of the machines exploded in a ball of silver fire. Then, another. The remaining Devourers tried to regroup, but the human ships wouldn't let them. Every time a machine tried to move into formation, a human pilot would do something so unexpected that it disrupted the entire group. Captain Foster flew his ship directly through a Devourer's hull, using the Echo technology to phase his ship through solid matter. He emerged on the other side and immediately spun around to fire at the machine's internal systems. "Foster, that was impossible," Captain Torres yelled over the radio. "I know." Foster laughed. "Isn't it great?" Within 2 hours, all 15 had been destroyed. The human fleet floated among the wreckage, their crews cheering and crying with relief. But Lisa wasn't celebrating yet. Dr. Cole, are you reading any more ships? Cole checked his instruments. No, ma'am. The first wave is completely destroyed. Echo Prime, will more devourers come? The alien's light pulsed thoughtfully. Yes, when these machines do not report back, the hunger will send a larger force. How much larger? Perhaps 50 machines, perhaps 100. Admiral Morrison's voice came through the communication system from Earth. Commander Brooks, you and your crews just did something incredible. You won a battle that every military expert said was impossible. Lisa looked at the debris floating around them. Pieces of devourer machines drifted past her window like metal snowflakes. Admiral, this was just the beginning. We proved that the devourers can be beaten. Now we need to get ready for the real war. She opened a channel to all ships, all crews. Return to base for repairs and resupply. Get some rest while you can. This victory will bring more enemies, but it will also bring more allies. Word of what we did here today is going to spread across the galaxy. For the first time in millions of years, hope is going to spread faster than fear. As the human fleet turned toward home, Echo Prime spoke quietly to Lisa. Commander, what you accomplished today has never been done before. You have given the galaxy its first real chance for freedom. Lisa smiled as she watched Earth grow larger. On the main screen, Echo Prime, we're just getting started. 6 months after the first battle. Lisa stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest space station, Haven's Gate. Through the massive windows, she could see something that would have been impossible to imagine a year ago. Human ships flew, alongside vessels from a dozen different alien species, all working together to build defenses around Earth. The Crystalline Republic sent another 50 ships yesterday. Amy Fisher reported, walking up beside her former commander. Amy was now Captain Fisher, commanding her own vessel in the growing Alliance fleet. What about the Verdani? Lisa asked. Their bioships are still 3 days out, but they're bringing some kind of living weapon that can eat devourer metal. Lisa shook her head in amazement. Word of humanity's victory had spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Species that had been hiding from the devourers for centuries were suddenly coming out of the shadows, ready to fight back. Commander Brooks to the bridge, came an announcement over the station's speakers. Priority message from Admiral Webb. Lisa walked quickly through the station's corridors. Haven's Gate was massive, built with technology from 7 different species. The walls pulsed with echo energy, while crystalline computers provided processing power that human minds couldn't understand. Gardens created by the plant-like Verdani provided fresh air and food. On the bridge, Admiral Ryan Webb's face appeared. On the main screen, he was calling from the front lines, where the combined Alliance fleet was building a defensive line near the edge of human space. Lisa, we just got word from Echo Long-Range Scouts. The second Devourer wave is coming. 80 machines this time, and they're bringing something new. What kind of something new? Ryan's face was grim. A hunger avatar. One of the actual controllers, not just its machines. Lisa felt cold fear creep up her spine. How big? Bigger than anything we've ever seen. Our scouts couldn't get close enough to measure it properly. Dr. Cole, who was now director of the Alliance Science Division, stepped forward. Admiral, we've been studying the Devourer remains from the first battle. We think we understand how the hunger controls them. Tell me, it's a quantum link. The hunger sends thoughts and commands across space instantly. But if we can disrupt that link, the machines become just machines, Lisa finished. No intelligence, no adaptation. Exactly. But we need to get close to the avatar to do it. Very close. Ryan nodded. We're already working on a plan. How many ships can you send us? Lisa looked around the bridge. Representatives from 12 species were working at different stations, each one contributing their unique abilities to the Alliance. Every ship we have, she said. The entire galaxy is counting on us. 2 weeks later, the largest space battle in galactic history began near the edge of the Kepler void, where Ryan and his crew had first encountered the Echoes 11 years ago. The Alliance fleet was impressive beyond imagination. 300 ships from 15 different species hung in space like a metal constellation. Human vessels with their blue Echo modifications flew alongside crystal ships that looked like living jewels, bioships that were actually alive, pulsed with green energy. Ancient Echo vessels made of pure light danced between them all, but the Devourer fleet was terrifying. 85's moon-sized machines moved through space in perfect formation, their metal tentacles reaching out like the arms of hungry gods, and behind them came the Avatar. It was impossible to describe properly. The thing was the size of a small planet, but it didn't look like it was made of matter at all. It seemed to be carved out of darkness itself, a moving hole in space that hurt to look at directly. All ships. Admiral Webb's voice came over the communication system. Remember what we learned in the first battle. Be unpredictable, be human, and trust your alien allies to do the same. The battle began when Captain Torres, now commanding a squadron of mixed human and crystalline ships, decided to attack by flying directly up instead of forward. His ships climbed above the Devourer formation and dove down like birds of prey. But this time, the Devourers were ready. They've adapted, Alina Martinez reported from her science ship. They're using our own tactics against us. The Devourer machines moved in crazy patterns, copying the chaotic human style of fighting. Their weapons fired randomly, creating the same kind of confusion they had experienced in the first battle. They're learning to be unpredictable, Lisa realized with horror. For 3 hours, the battle raged without either side gaining an advantage. Ships from both fleets were destroyed, but the Devourer's ability to adapt meant they were slowly getting better at fighting like humans. Then, the Verdani did something completely unexpected. Their bioships, which had been hanging back from the main battle, suddenly opened like flowers. From inside each ship came thousands of tiny seed pods that spread across space like pollen in the wind. What are they doing? Admiral Morrison asked from his command ship. The Verdani fleet commander, a being that looked like a walking tree, answered in its slow, deep voice. We are gardening, Admiral Morrison. These seeds will grow into something the Devourers have never seen before. The seeds reached the Devourer machines and began to sprout. Instantly, metal tentacles were covered in fast-growing vines that glowed with green energy. The plants didn't just grow on the machines, they grew into them, taking root in their systems and disrupting their functions. The plants are alive, Dr. Cole said with wonder. They're thinking plants, and they're making the Devourers think like plants instead of machines. The effect was immediate. The Devourer machines slowed down, their movements becoming sluggish like trees in winter. Their weapons fired slowly, their adaptation systems confused by the plant thoughts growing in their circuits. Now, Admiral, Webb shouted. All ships, full attack. The Alliance fleet struck with everything they had. Human ships phased through Devourer hulls. Crystalline vessels fired beams of pure mathematics that confused the machine's computers. Echo ships bent space around the enemy, making their weapons fire at empty dimensions. One by one, the Devourer machines were destroyed, but the Avatar remained. The thing moved through space toward the Alliance fleet, and wherever it went, space itself seemed to die. Stars dimmed in its presence. The quantum fields that held reality together began to unravel. All ships, stay back from that thing, Webb ordered. If it touches you, you're gone. But Lisa was studying the Avatar on her screens, watching how it moved and how it affected space around it. Amy, take us closer, she ordered. Ma'am, I said, take us closer. I have an idea. The Unity moved toward the Avatar, its hull protected by the strongest echo shields available. As they got closer, Lisa could feel the thing's presence like ice in her mind. It's trying to communicate, Echo Prime said from its station. The aliens. Light was flickering with strain. It wants to know why we resist. Tell it, Lisa said grimly, that we resist because we're human, and humans don't know how to quit. She opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships, I need you to do something that's going to sound crazy. I need every ship to fire at the Unity, Commander, Amy asked in shock. Trust me, fire everything you have at our shields. Not at the Avatar, at us. For a moment, no one moved. Then Captain Torres's voice came over the radio. You heard the commander. All ships, target the Unity. 300 ships opened fire on Lisa's vessel. Energy beams, missiles, plasma bolts, and weapons that had no names in human language all struck the Unity's shields at the same time. The shields held, but barely. More importantly, all that energy was absorbed by the echo technology in the ship's hull. Now, Lisa whispered, let's see what happens when we give all this energy back to the universe at once. She pressed a button that no human ship had ever been designed to have. The Unity released all the absorbed energy in a single burst, but instead of firing it as a weapon, the echo technology converted it into pure human emotion, specifically the emotion of stubborn refusal to give up. The burst of concentrated human stubbornness hit the Avatar like a physical blow. The ancient entity, which had consumed galaxies and destroyed thousands of civilizations, suddenly encountered something it had never felt before: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. The Avatar stopped moving. Its darkness flickered like a candle in the wind. For the first time in millions of years, the hunger felt doubt. It's working, Dr. Cole shouted. The quantum link is disrupting. All across the battlefield, the remaining Devourer machines suddenly went dark. Without the Avatar's control, they became just empty metal holes floating in space. But the Avatar wasn't finished. It began to pull energy from space itself, trying to restore its connection to its machines. It's adapting, Alina warned. It's learning to exist without the quantum link. Lisa smiled. Then we'll just have to teach it something new. She opened a channel to every ship in the fleet. All vessels, all species, all crews, I need you to think about why you're here. Think about your homes, your families, your dreams. Think about everything you're fighting for, and then share that feeling with everyone around you. What happened next had never occurred in the history of the galaxy. 15 different species, each with their own ways of thinking and feeling, all focused on the same emotion at the same time: love for their homes and determination to protect them. The combined mental force of that shared emotion hit the Avatar like a tidal wave of pure life. The entity, which fed on death and emptiness, couldn't absorb or understand such concentrated vitality. The Avatar began to shrink. Its darkness flickered and faded. With a sound like the universe sighing in relief, the ancient enemy of all life, SIMPLY, stopped existing across the galaxy on 1,000 hidden worlds. Species that had cowered in fear for millions of years suddenly felt the oppressive weight of the hunger lift from their minds. For the first time since their civilizations began, they were truly free. The Alliance fleet floated in space among the wreckage of the Devourer machines, their crews hardly daring to believe what they had accomplished. Is it over? Amy asked. Quietly. Echo Prime's light pulsed brighter than it ever had before. The hunger is gone. After millions of years, the galaxy is free to live without fear. Admiral Webb's voice came over the communication system. All ships, return to base. We have a lot of work to do. What kind of work? Captain Torres asked. Lisa looked out at the stars, seeing them clearly for the first time, without the shadow of the hunger hanging over them. The kind of work that free people do, Captain. Building, exploring, learning, growing, making friends with species we haven't met yet. Turning this galaxy into the kind of place where anyone can call home. 1 year later, Lisa stood in the same spot on Haven's Gate, where she had watched the Alliance fleet gather. But now, instead of preparing for war, she was watching something much better. Ships from over 100 species came and went from the station every day. Trade convoys, exploration vessels, student exchange ships, and simple tourists who wanted to see the galaxy that was finally safe to explore. Dr. Cole walked up beside her, carrying a datapad full of reports about new discoveries and new friendships being made across the stars. "Any regrets?" he asked. Lisa thought about Ryan Webb, who was now exploring the far edge of the galaxy with Echo Prime, looking for other species that might need help. She thought about the crew of the Valkyrie, who had spent 11 years lost in the void and came back to save everyone. She thought about humanity's first contact with aliens and how it had led to the greatest alliance in galactic history. "No regrets," she said finally. "Sometimes getting lost is the first step to finding your true purpose." Outside the window, a group of human children were playing with young aliens from 6 different species, all of them laughing together as they chased each other through the station's parks. They were the first generation to grow up in a galaxy without the hunger, the first to see the universe as a place of infinite possibility instead of endless threat. "You know what I think?" Lisa said to Cole as she watched the children play. "What's that?" "I think the best adventures are just beginning." In the distance, a new exploration fleet was forming up, ready to venture into the unknown regions of the galaxy. Human ships flew alongside vessels from dozens of species, all of them eager to see what wonders waited among the stars. The age of fear was over. The age of discovery had begun. And at the center of it all was humanity, the species that had looked at impossible odds and said, "Hold our beer and watch this."